love Alex's absolute ability to be professional in one moment and then lose her shit uncontrollably in the next moment. She is a pendulum. She is quite a pendulum, a human pendulum. Even during rehearsals, your masks are on and your shields are on, and then it's like rolling, and all of a sudden, oh, I guess the virus doesn't exist now. For this 5-minute scene.
Great themes to it, and I'm really proud of this show. I feel like we worked really hard, and just to really be thoughtful about what people are dealing with during this pandemic. It has been devastating for the world in so many different ways. So addressing it with thoughtfulness and a real focus on humanity was very important to us. So I think the show really beautifully addresses cancel culture and that there's a human cost to exiling people or condemning them for one thing they did in their lives. Because no one is perfect. Because I do think journalism has shifted so much even in the past 5 years.
Yes.
With the emergence of social media and misinformation and politicized news.
Right.
It's very hard, I think, for audiences to find the truth.
The generational gaps is interesting too, because the kids are so black and white. Basically, tuning into season 2 just the moments after Bradley and Alex are on air and get shut down. So we sort of have a very energized entrance into season 2. And then, it takes a lot of twists and turns, and we basically are dealing with the repercussions of what season 1 handed us. And so you see the struggles, the outcasts, the cancel culture, everyone's sort of walking around with their own guilt of what they allowed to and not to happen. There's a lot of self-reckoning, and a lot of twists and turns that we can't really talk about, actually, but it's definitely gets spicy.
Yeah, I think it's a deeper exploration of all those themes. Season 1 was really a lot about Me Too. This season is really exploring that time right before the whole world shut down because of the pandemic. So COVID. It's January to March, right before. And we're dealing with systemic racism, homophobia, ageism, and our newfound power and what our relationship to power is as women inside of a news media organization. Oh, it's very challenging because you want to get it right.
Exactly. All happening in real time. It's very, it's exciting, and yet that's the fun of also creating a show as it's happening in real time, as we're watching the world learn its new normal, and hoping that we are portraying it, but we are portraying it as honestly as we can because it's what we are experiencing in real time. So, I mean, it's a lot of responsibility, but it keeps it exciting. Well, yeah. I mean, it took me down. It was hard. I think it took Reese down too. She can speak to her experience, but it was very challenging we had already shot the first bit of the show before the pandemic, and then we shut down, and then the show was rewritten in order to incorporate COVID. So doing a show, creating a show whilst in a pandemic, dealing with all of the protocols. We'd had endless Zooms with our incredible epidemiology team, each department, and we were all, because the main thing for everybody was everybody's safety, the entire crew, and then everybody's family when they would go home. So it was a very, very strict protocol. And then, it's difficult because I want to see, we always kept saying, I want to see my crew's faces. I love these people. And we had such a season 1, and it was so bizarre to be a creative group of people, and we're all so interactive. And so even during rehearsals, your masks are on and your shields are on, and then it's like rolling, and all of a sudden, I guess the virus doesn't exist now, for this 5-minute scene that we're going to do. So it took some adjusting, but then like anything, it became very normal, oddly, which hopefully it won't be that normal for that much longer. And it was definitely not without its challenges, because we also were given a less amount of time to work during the day. There was a lot of rules around it, but we got through it and survived it, and I think we made a really, really good show, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what's going on inside the show, too, we're kind of dealing with all those things that happened before the entire world shut down. So it's kind of this theme of the world happens when you're busy making other plans. So we're all very invested in our own struggles and our own ideas and our own pursuits. And then something even bigger than all of us is happening in the world. So it has great themes to it, and I'm really proud of this show. I feel like we worked really hard, and just to really be thoughtful about what people are dealing with during this pandemic. It has been devastating for the world in so many different ways. So
it's so
addressing it with thoughtfulness and a real focus on humanity was very important to us. Well, a lot. I mean, we get to collaborate a lot. I mean, this season we had very different storylines. So it would kind of be like I'd be working in the morning and Jen would be working in the afternoon. But whenever we saw each other, we'd have a coffee or
we just have a squeal and just be like, how are you doing? And what's going on in your world? And I'd be over here with this, and she was over here in her storyline, and we weren't we had a lot of amazing time together, but it wasn't as much as we wanted to. And also just because of this protocol we were given, everybody was kind of assigned to a certain pod of people. But we also have, we've known each other for so many years, and we respect each other's work that we have done over the years. And so the fact that we get to do this together, it feels very natural. And also we feel so grateful that we get to do it together after all of these years of knowing each other and watching each other grow up.
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Replaceable, yeah.
I think in our culture, there's never been a time of more change. So
Yeah.
and a more unforgivable time to live in. I think we all are just humans trying to figure it out. We're all capable of terrible things, and we're all capable of great things. And none of us are just the one horrible thing we ever did. So I think the show really beautifully addresses cancel culture, and that there's a human cost to exiling people or condemning them for one thing they did in their lives, because no one is perfect. I will say that's an interesting question, because I do think journalism has shifted so much even in the past 5 years.
Yes.
With the emergence of social media and misinformation and politicized news.
Right.
It's very hard, I think, for audiences to find the truth. We're all searching for the truth. There used to be one sort of universal accepted truth.
Right.
Now there's 1,000 different ways. I really see it with my children. They get their news in different places than I do. And I think that is it just is what it is. It's life. News is not centralized anymore.
The
like
kids are
everything.
the generational gaps is interesting too, because the
Yes.
kids are so black and white. It's like, no, that is wrong. It's like, well, wait a minute. There's definitely as the generations go up, and then there's the Holland Taylor character who's just like, I've been around this world and blah, blah. I mean, she's like seen it all and done it all, and then you get to the like, no, that is just not. So there's all of these different generations that are being explored on our show, and which is fascinating. But I also think, like we said, they used to be our safe place to go. You turn on the morning news, and that's Ma and Pa, and we feel safe, we feel okay. The world's not imploding today, and then all of a sudden, over the last, however, like we said, just 5 years, you can't even just deliver the news anymore because everybody's going through your panty drawers now too. It's it's a lot. Everyone's just out for blood.
I feel lucky that I grew up in a time where there were things I didn't know.
Me too. Ignorance was
it's
bliss.
the innocence. And I feel like kids nowadays and this digital native age, it's really hard to be able to process everything. I think sometimes you just have to take breaks from it. And so I have a lot of respect for journalists and journalism. I think it is nonstop. And I think it's important. It's vital, I feel lucky that we live in a country that's about the freedom of press. But there's a lot that comes with it that's pretty complicated, and I have to kind of take some time to back up and sort things out and say, is that the truth? So it's an interesting time for sure. I mean, I don't think anything's difficult. I think it's just the truth. So
it's the truth, yes.
Processing different things like systemic racism within the media industry, homophobia, sexism, ageism. They're all meaningful. I think it was just how do we allocate time to every important issue that's on people's mind. We're in a cultural reckoning. And I think it's time that people are really comfortable voicing it, and people are actually interested in hearing it. So we just wanted to give appropriate time to each issue.
And people really appreciate when you kind of go there on a topic that is taboo and say the unspeakable or the unthinkable or the thing that's said behind the closed doors that, oh my gosh, how dare. There's such relief for an audience to say, oh, that's me. I feel that way. So, yes, so there's other people that are thinking those things, because again, it's not so black and white. I love Alex's absolute ability to be professional in one moment and then lose her shit uncontrollably in the next moment. She is a pendulum. She is quite a pendulum, a human pendulum.
It's very delicious to watch.
From rope to vine to vine. But yeah, I enjoy that. It's fun to sort of navigate and dissect that as a character.
Well, this season, I feel like Bradley's very vulnerable. She's on a journey of self-discovery and identity, and she's really questioning the places she came from and her place inside the world. I think that was a really fun part to play because I know so many people who are in their 40s and still discovering who they are. They really don't know. So that was really, it was really meaningful.